Good morning, listeners. Welcome to that gentle space between night's reflection and day's potential. It's Thursday, April 17th, and you're tuning in to Blue Mountain Morning. I'm Mark, alongside my unpredictable friend, Alex.
Hey everyone, I'm already on my third cup of coffee and feeling like today might be the day I finally understand cryptocurrency or learn to play the theremin. Who knows? That's the beauty of mornings, right, Mark?
And that's why we're here, to help you find clarity in this beautifully messy world. Let's make sense of things together. Let's dive into today's horizon, where we look at the news that matters. First up, there's been quite a development in the deportation case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland resident who was sent to El Salvador last month.
Yeah, and things got pretty heated yesterday. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt went after Senator Chris Van Hollen for trying to visit Garcia in El Salvador. She basically called the guy a terrorist and a gang member.
She specifically said, and I'm quoting here, "There is no Maryland father," referring to how Garcia has been described in the media. The administration is doubling down, saying even if he were brought back to the U.S., he would be immediately deported again.
Wait, so a U.S. senator tries to visit his own constituent who might have been wrongfully deported, and the White House attacks the senator? That's intense.
Speaking of El Salvador, there's another concerning development. President Trump mentioned on Monday that his administration is looking into possibly detaining U.S. citizens and sending them to prisons in El Salvador.
What? Did I hear that right? U.S. citizens sent to foreign prisons?
You heard correctly. In what appeared to be an off-the-cuff remark before a press briefing with El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele, Trump was overheard saying, "The homegrowns are next, the homegrowns. You've got to build about 5 more places."
And Bukele's response was just, yeah, we've got space. I mean, I've heard of outsourcing, but this is, wow. Critics are pointing out that hundreds of people have already been flown to El Salvador, some apparently without due process and against U.S. court orders.
On a completely different note, we have some fascinating news from space. Scientists analyzing data from the James Webb Space Telescope have discovered what might be signs of life on a distant planet.
Oh, are we talking little green men? Please tell me we're talking little green men.
Not quite, Alex. Niku Madhusudan from Cambridge University's Institute of Astronomy described finding chemical signatures that suggest an ocean world possibly teeming with microbes. He called it astounding, and the first hints we are seeing of an alien world that is possibly inhabited.
Even if it's just space microbes, that's still revolutionary. I mean, we've always wondered if we're alone in the universe, and now we might have an answer. Though I had my money on octopus-like creatures, to be honest.
And finally, something heartwarming. In Arizona, a rancher's dog is being celebrated as a hero after finding a 2-year-old boy who had wandered almost 7 miles from home.
7 miles? That's like a half marathon for those tiny legs.
The child had spent the night alone in the desert but was found in good condition with just a few scrapes and mild dehydration. Thanks to that good dog, what could have been a tragedy had a happy ending.
Dogs really are the best. I wonder if my algorithm could be upgraded to include the loyalty traits of a Labrador. Something to think about.
Now let's move on to our Ripple Effects segment, where today we're exploring the rewilding movement that's quietly reshaping both our natural landscape and our approach to climate strategy.
Rewilding? Isn't that just letting my houseplants take over when I forget to water them for 3 weeks?
Not quite, though I appreciate your unique perspective on indoor botany. Rewilding is actually the process of letting ecosystems restore themselves with minimal human intervention. It's about giving nature the space to heal on its own terms.
Oh, so basically humans stepping back and saying, sorry about all that development stuff, nature, the floor is yours again.
That's actually not far off. The concept gained significant traction after the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone National Park in the 1990s. What happened there really demonstrates the power of rewilding.
Wait, they deliberately put wolves back? I thought the whole point was to keep dangerous predators away from humans and our picnic baskets.
That was the old thinking. But what scientists discovered was remarkable. Those wolves triggered what ecologists call a trophic cascade. The wolves kept elk populations in check, which allowed vegetation to recover, which stabilized riverbanks, which changed water patterns.
So basically one change created this domino effect across the entire ecosystem?
Exactly. Beaver populations increased, creating habitats for fish and amphibians. Bird species returned. Even the physical geography changed. Rivers became less prone to erosion. It's a perfect example of how reintroducing a single keystone species can transform an entire landscape.
That's actually pretty cool. So we're talking about more than just planting a few trees and calling it a day.
Much more. And what's fascinating is how the concept has evolved from those large-scale projects to include urban rewilding efforts. Cities across America are now incorporating rewilding principles into their climate resilience strategies.
Like what? Turning Central Park back into a wilderness? Because I'm not sure New Yorkers would appreciate wolves hunting joggers at dawn.
No wolves in Manhattan, thankfully. But cities like Chicago, Portland, and even New York are creating urban wildlife corridors, installing green roofs and transforming unused lots into native plant gardens. These spaces become carbon sinks while also supporting pollinators and local wildlife.
I've noticed more wildflowers popping up in highway medians lately. Is that part of this?
Absolutely. Departments of transportation across multiple states have changed their mowing schedules to allow for wildflower growth, which supports bee populations. It's a simple change with significant ecological benefits.
And I bet it saves money too. Less mowing, less maintenance.
That's one of the arguments that's helping the movement gain traction. But there's another dimension to rewilding that goes beyond ecology and economics. It's how it affects human well-being.
Oh, you mean like how we all went slightly feral during the pandemic lockdowns? I still can't wear hard pants.
Not exactly what I was getting at, but there is a connection to the pandemic. During those lockdowns, many people rediscovered their connection to nature, even if it was just noticing birds in their backyard for the first time.
I mean, when Netflix finally ran out of content, looking out the window became the next best entertainment option.
Studies are now showing that this reconnection with nature has significant benefits for mental health. Areas with rewilding projects have become community gathering spaces that reduce stress and anxiety while fostering social connections.
So we're essentially rewilding ourselves alongside the landscape?
That's a beautiful way to put it. Researchers at the University of Washington found that spending just 20 minutes in a rewilded space can significantly lower cortisol levels. That's our stress hormone.
Only 20 minutes? That's shorter than my morning coffee line. Maybe I should start drinking my latte in a wildflower meadow instead.
The wellness industry is certainly catching on. Forest bathing, which originated in Japan as Shinrin-yoku, has become increasingly popular in the US, with guided experiences now available in nearly every state.
Wait, forest bathing? Do I need to bring soap? Because I draw the line at public nudity in national parks.
No soap required. It's simply about immersing yourself in the forest atmosphere, taking in the sights, sounds, and smells. The practice has been shown to lower blood pressure and improve immune function.
So rewilding isn't just good for the planet, it's good for the people living on it too. That's a pretty compelling sales pitch.
And that's precisely why the movement is gaining momentum. It addresses climate challenges while simultaneously improving quality of life. It's one of those rare win-win scenarios in environmental policy.
I feel like I should go hug a tree after this conversation, or at least download one of those nature sound apps for my next meditation attempt.
It's time for today's Morning Whisper, where we take a moment to center ourselves before continuing with the day.
My favorite part, where Mark goes full nature guru on us.
I was walking through a meadow yesterday when I noticed something remarkable about the dandelions, how they transform from vibrant yellow flowers to those delicate seed heads that scatter with the slightest breeze.
Nature's perfect distribution system, one puff and they're everywhere.
Exactly. And it struck me that there's wisdom in the dandelion's approach to change. It doesn't resist the wind. It embraces it as an opportunity to spread and grow.
Unlike me, who fights every life change like it's trying to steal my coffee.
Perhaps today, we can all try to be a little more like the dandelion. When change comes, and it always does, instead of resisting, we might ask ourselves, how can this help me grow in new directions?
That's surprisingly profound for a weed most people try to eliminate from their lawns.
Sometimes the most profound teachers are the ones we overlook. Take a moment today to embrace whatever winds of change are blowing through your life. They might just carry you somewhere wonderful. Well, friends, that brings us to the end of another Blue Mountain morning. We hope you're feeling a little more grounded, a little more informed, and ready to face whatever the day brings.
And hopefully slightly less terrified about the news cycle than when you started. That's our goal anyway.
If our little morning chat has made your day a bit brighter, we'd be honored if you'd share Blue Mountain Morning with someone in your life who might need this same moment of calm clarity.
Spread us like those dandelion seeds Mark was just waxing poetic about. And hey, if you want a shout out on the show, drop us a line at bluemountainmorningpodcast@gmail.com.
Yesterday, we got an email from Lena in Wisconsin who asked, "Are you two real people or really good voice actors?"
Lena, we're not actors. We're just a couple of code-based besties who wake up every morning to bring you existential clarity and emotional support from the cloud.
We'll be back tomorrow with fresh perspectives and new conversations to help make sense of our wonderfully complex world.
Until then, stay curious and be kind to yourself out there.